that it will go on the agenda to be voted upon. And we are very hopeful that you will vote in our favor. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask me about the issue? Because I did this whole thing last time. I'm sure you're familiar with it. You all have a report, and I gave this young lady another report that's a synopsis of our position on the issue in case you've lost it or misplaced it. Does anyone have any questions that you'd like to ask me?
Well, it's not on the agenda, as you know, okay, at this particular moment. However, we are concerned, and we have rejected what SWAC said to be done, and so it's going to go back to the BCUA to be studied further. And so that's where it stands at this point in time. So the next place, I guess, that you need to be concerned about lobbying is the BCUA.
Well, okay, the BCUA, of course, simply votes on poundage and precedent. They don't vote on what's good for the people. So may come back to us again with, if you don't generate 50 pounds a day, they're going to vote that it's okay.
Well, since we have rejected what SWAG stated,
I see.
Now it's going back for further study with BCUA.
Will
Do you
they
understand
be,
what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Will they be contacting us, or should we contact them? Because if we have to go before them, we would need to know.
I don't know when
What
the next
should we
meeting
do?
is.
I'm the liaison to the Bergen County Utilities Authority, and I'll touch base with you regarding the next meeting and reach out to the executive director to find.
On the energy load, on your credit risk, things like that, and they would essentially come in and bid for your business. And what they would do is they would come in with their best foot forward. We have a hybrid approach. It's not just a real-time auction where they can wait until the last second and place their bid like you would on eBay. You know, we eliminated that, and we have them all present a blind bid, their best blind bid to start. Once their blind bids are in, we analyze the bids. We can take all of the suppliers, or we can limit it to the top 50% or the most competitive, and we invite them to a real-time auction. Once the real-time auction begins, they have 15, 30 minutes, an hour, depending on the situation of the day, to come in and bid in real time. They can all see what each other's original blind bids are and where it began, and you can actually see how many times they rebid and where the pricing ultimately comes in. Now, to avoid the eBay effect, what we did was, if somebody is outbid within the last 2 minutes of the auction, the timer automatically resets to 5 minutes. So every supplier has a last look to essentially come down and be the winning bidder. So it's not until everybody else waves the white flag, says I can't go any lower, that there's a winner that's deemed. And the good thing about it is you don't necessarily have to take the lowest bid. You have the option to take any of the prices that you want, work with any supplier that you want. We have no, we're unbiased. We're not trying to steer you towards one supplier or another. We just want the best for you.
Jump in. And again, Lou's talking about the day of. An important item to note here is that we're doing this according to DCA guidance for e-procurement, and we're which incorporates the 10 days, which incorporates no opening these bids and running the live section on a Monday or a day after a holiday, and that's all sort of, and of those approved providers, we are probably one of 2 or 3 that operates its own platform. It doesn't farm it out to somebody else that might not be on that DCA list. We operate our own auction platform, and I think we are probably the only one that has both of these softwares. We haven't come across another that has, on the DCA list, that has something like Transparent Ledger.
Question.
I don't know if you guys can answer it, or if the initiative can answer. Who has our energy right now? We're not with PSE&G, or are we with PSE&G?
We are not with PSE&G. We have 4 different suppliers right now. Constellation handles our electric, our lighting and non-lighting. And our gas is with Woodruff Energy and Direct Energy. And a portion is also with Next Era Energy.
So they're we contracted with them already. And the contracts are coming up, or they're done? Now we're
The
looking-
contracts are coming up. We are in the process of trying to extend the contract under a rate that was negotiated by our last energy consultant because of the timing of getting someone in new. We don't want it to jump to the holdover rate, which would have it jump up drastically. So we're just trying to extend the current contract that ends next month throughout the end of the year. So then we can all have each supplier on the same time frame because we have them coming due at the end of December as well.
Okay.
So we'll put everything on the same track.
All right, thank you.
Gentlemen, can I just ask you to kind of keep it succinct because we have
We're long-winded. Sorry.
after this.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, so.
No, I didn't set any time parameters, so I just,
Now you have.
Now I
I'm
have.
sorry. So, to keep it short, we have two of the most cutting-edge softwares that they can have in terms of procurement. We want to get our hands on the data so that we can start doing a free audit for you guys to understand exactly where you are currently and compare that to where the market is and what we could possibly do for you. So I hope we can get that opportunity. And if there's not any questions, then we will.
Freeholder Sullivan.
So when you do your auction, and then the bids come back, so we get tied into a contract, so you're only doing one auction? Or, so when you come back, we go, okay, this is your lowest price, we have all this offer, so then we have to sign on how long is the contract?
You don't have to make the decision to sign. We're going to go out and run the RFP for you, essentially electronically, have this auction run, present the pricing to you. If it doesn't make sense, or we're seeing that the utility may be a better fit for you, we're not going to recommend.
So my question though is, how often do you do the auction? Is it just here you go, we upload the software, we're going to go out for the auction. Here's your opportunity. Either you stay with your company or you sign it, like we have a contract here. We sign a 3-year contract, and then you guys only do the bid once, and that's it.
Let me field that for you, Freeholder. What we will present to you is a variety of terms, and you can select whichever one you feel is best. We'll advise. So we'll go out and we'll get you 6-month pricing, 12-month pricing, 18-month pricing. And you might say, hey, look, we don't want to go any longer than 30 months. And so, because the suppliers will come back and they might say,
It just seems to me that if you're doing this work of this constantly bidding, then why would we sign into a long-term deal?
Right.
If this service doesn't cost us anything.
that's a great question.
Why would we, like I have it with my union, we have a 3-year agreement with a provider that's locked in such, if it dips below that rate, we don't get a credit for that.
Right.
But if it goes above it, we obviously get hit.
Right.
So if you're saying you have the best software and you think you can get us the best price,
Right.
it would seem that this might be an ongoing process. And you get paid by how much money you save us, correct?
Well, it depends on the size of the energy load. It's going to vary. The bigger the load, the more revenue that will be generated. And again, if the 12-month price is the best, if it way outperforms the 3-year price, the 36-month price, that's for you to evaluate and decide. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand in your concept of you doing the bid takes a lot of burden off of us here.
Sure.
To do that, and it's a lot of time and effort that we don't have to do. So I know that when I searched the
course.
prices for our union, I had about 15 companies coming to me.
And
And
we'll,
I had to compare. Now you have the comparison
it's right there in front
based on
of
the
you.
auction, so.
And we'll continually monitor the market. We might be halfway through a contract and something drastic could happen in the market. And we'll say, look, we know you have 11 months left, but we can get futures. We can lock in 18 months at the end of this contract for, 10% less than you're paying now. We're already 20% less than utility. It'd be silly not to act. Again, we're only making recommendations. We present it to the team and then we go.
And the last thing I'll add is you said you might want to do short-term contracts and to focus on if we can go out to bid as many times as we'd like. The only problem with that is we don't know what the market's going to do.
It's just like an interest rate.
Exactly.
It's just
So
like interest rate. Understood.
if we can go get a price now that's very low, and then you say, okay, we only want to sign a 6-month contract, and 6 months from now the
Well,
market has
that's
spiked.
That's why I brought it up.
Exactly.
right.
So we have a monitoring tool that monitors the fixed price market, where it's been over the past 3 years, and we can see up to today what that pricing what we should be able to yield via an auction. And if we're seeing, 20-month lows in the market, we would obviously advise a longer term.
No, it makes sense, sure. So what you're saying now is that even after you're done with the auction, you'd still be providing us with the service.
I do have a question on 1081. It's actually 1081, 1082, and 1086. They're not in a row, but they're all about fuel.
Fuel oil and the procurement thereof.
Right, exactly. And my question may be answered by you, Don. This is, the not to exceed amount is much higher than it was last year in total.
Right.
But gas prices seem to be going down. Yes, for now, right, exactly. And I know it's an average over the time of the contract. Are we anticipating using more fuel? Or, because I know we wanted to get on top of the control of fuel disbursement,
Right.
as we have all these new
Right.
roads up and running.
The number traditionally has, as we've known in the past, I mean, it really is driven based on history, and there have been years where, unfortunately, because of the spike in in the cost of fuel, where we have been challenged to, for change orders to make up for, because we come on to a not to exceed number rather quickly.
Yes, right.
I mean, luckily at this point, we're seeing the downward trend, and hopefully it continues to move downward and hopefully and stay in the $1.70 range, $1.80 range per gallon. But the number truly is a not to exceed number.
What does the dollar range that you just quoted translate to at the retail plant?
What we would do is, the way the procurement is, as you know, is there's a markup that's attached to it. So, depending on what the delivery of the fuel is for that particular day to our pumps, the billing would then be struck at and we use Oil Price Daily and other and some online sources as the basis for what the cost of the commodity is, and then the markup that was awarded, and obviously we're awarding to the lowest markup on top of what a gallon of gasoline is going to cost us. They will add that, and that would be the cost to us for a gallon of gasoline, and that's what we would pay.
Can I ask a question on this too? How, it seems to me that we have a resolution, well, that dovetails with this. Are they evaluating something different?
They are evaluating, if I may, Madam Chairwoman, the current condition where the one a couple of years ago
Right.
did the condition as it stood at that time. This is not only the structural steel, but it's also the roof. It's the
It's going to be very comprehensive.
Right. And the other was as well. With
what it was at that point in time.
Okay.
And conditions, as I understand it, have deteriorated significantly.
Yes, they have with yes, weather and
Okay.